What's up, everybody? It's Chase with Energy to Conquer, and today is day 45 on my experimental journey to increasing my energy, my mental clarity, and my overall focus. And guys, if you feel like you don't have enough energy, if you feel like you don't have the energy you should, if you just feel like you don't have enough to get you through the day, and at the end of the day you're spent, you feel like you're on this hamster wheel that you can't never get off of, and you can't never win this energy game no matter what you do, be sure to subscribe to this channel, because that's what this channel is all about. So look guys, today I'm talking about enthusiasm and controlling your enthusiasm, and what happens when you don't control your enthusiasm, and how that's going to completely screw up your energy game. It's going to completely screw up, just to be frank with you, it's going to screw up like whatever it is you want to accomplish in life. You've got to learn to tamper the enthusiasm game down. You can't get out of control with the enthusiasm. So Napoleon Hill talks about the most dangerous people to be around is people who cannot control their enthusiasm. And the reason he says that is because if you're focused, so you're locked in and you're focused on whatever it is that you're doing, and if you're hanging out with people who's constantly getting enthusiastic about every single thing, they're enthusiastic about something every day because they have zero control. You're locked in, you're focused, right? You're focused in on this, and your enthusiasm is under control. Well, they're going to become a distraction to you, and they're getting enthusiastic about every single thing, you know, that comes their way. Every little shiny object, they're getting enthusiastic about it. And so that has a negative impact on what you want to do in life, but also it has a negative impact on your thought energy and the energy that you're consuming in your brain. Because if you get hyped up on one of these ideas, guess what happens? It's going to be an energy suck. And so how that applies to your physical energy, and kind of what I'm talking about today, is real simple. Is, you know, sometimes we get caught up in conversations when maybe we get to work, maybe we work in an office environment or whatever, and we get into these deep conversations. Maybe we're hyped up on coffee, right? And those morning coffee conversations, and the next thing you know, we've spent 30-45 minutes in these deep conversations, and we kind of get all excited in our mind, and our mind's going, you know, super fast, 100 miles an hour, and these conversations. But how do you feel afterwards? And often it leaves us feeling depleted and drained. It's the same thing with phone calls. You get on a phone call and you get a lot of energy into that phone call and this conversation. You're using listening energy, and it takes energy to listen, concentration to listen. But then also, you know, you get excited, you get hyped up, especially business phone calls, sales phone calls. And if these things are, I guess, not getting you what you want, right? If it's not aligned with your purpose, like if you're in business, you have to make sales phone calls. That's part of your job, right? That's part of your purpose. That's part of your energy game that you're conserving energy for. But if you're just jumping on random phone calls and talking for 30-45 minutes, getting all hyped up and using all this mental energy with this enthusiasm that's not controlled, it's going to zap your energy, and it's going to leave you drained, and it's going to leave you at a, I guess, a mental deficit, right? An energy deficit mentally after that conversation, because you're going to have your brain's going to have time to recover. So now if you're expecting to jump back into work or jump back into whatever you was doing at 100%, you're not going to be able to do it, right? You're going to jump in at 70%, 60%, maybe even 40%, right? And so when we get distracted, when we're not controlling our enthusiasm on the things that are the highest priority in our life, right, we end up wasting the best part of us. We're wasting the best part of our energy, of our thought energy, just our mental thoughts, right? And a lot of us get caught up in procrastination, and we get hyped up on ideas. If you're listening to a lot of different authors or speakers, whether it's YouTube or you listen to audiobooks, if these are outside of your field, or you just kind of, they're all over the place, maybe you're just looking for motivation, it's easy to get hyped up on these videos and get your brain going down these rabbit trails, and you kind of lose 30 minutes or an hour in this thought. Or especially, you know, if you're doing any type of internet marketing, I think that's probably the worst, because there's so many people telling you to do so many different things and go so many different directions, It's so easy to get hyped up on a new idea and lose a day or two and then be completely wiped out the next day or two, and it just destroys your enthusiasm for what you're doing, and it just completely, it can keep you off the rails. And I've spent time in that, and I've struggled with that, and it's a real thing. Like the shiny object syndrome is a real thing, but the reason it's a real thing is because, number one, it's taking your eye off of what you're focused on, but next it's because it's taking your energy off of what you're focused on. And that energy that you're using is depleting you, and you have to be conscious of this energy that you're using, I guess, with this enthusiasm. Because when you get enthusiastic in your mind and your brain's just going 100 miles an hour and it's all you can think about, like you can't think about anything else, you go sit down and do your work and you're just thinking about this one thing, you know. And probably the easiest way to describe this is maybe when you was in school and you're about to get out for summer break. You know, school just got out here, so maybe it's a day before, maybe it's a week before, maybe it's the day of school, and you're there and you're just waiting for, you know, the bell to ring to go home for summer, right? You can't think about anything else. Like, you couldn't do schoolwork if you needed to. The next scenario that's pretty easy to relate to in this is going on vacation, right? You're sitting at work, but you're about to go on vacation. This is your last day before the vacation. Maybe it's the last week, but really the last day. It's like you're just sitting there, and it's like the seconds on the clock feel like minutes, like the hours feel like days, and it just can't come fast enough. And no matter how hard you try to concentrate, your brain is in vacation mode already. And this is what I'm talking about. That's that enthusiasm and being able to control it, because you're not effective at what you're doing, but you're also consuming a lot of excess energy that is not going to be productive, and it's going to be a waste, and you're going to have an energy deficit. Anytime you're consuming energy at that high of a level, like, it's going to, there's going to be a cost in the future to make that up, and people don't realize that. Like, I think there was a study done in a chess tournament, one of the top chess tournaments, and I think they was testing the calorie usage, but basically I think the winner of this tournament ended up burning like 4,000 or 6,000. It was crazy. It was like 4,000 or 5,000, somewhere around there. I think it was between 4 and 6. Crazy amount of calories. I mean, this is the type of calories that extreme athletes would be consuming in a day, but they were consuming this just by playing chess. And that's how important your mental game is to your energy. And almost no one, like zero, like people are talking about this, and no one is really focused on it. Like, most people are not even conscious of the amount of energy that they're consuming mentally. And you can do the same thing. Like, I'm talking about enthusiasm today, but you can do the same thing with negative thoughts, and you can get, I guess, enthusiastic about negative thoughts. People get wrapped up. People spend their whole lives and they just feel drained and completed because they're in these negative thoughts of worry, stress, fear, doubt, like, and they just live in this place. And we all know people like that, where just everything's negative, there's no hope, right? And it's just this mental conversation in their head, but it's constantly mentally draining. And then the opposite of that is people that's always looking for the latest and greatest, and they're always hyped up on something. And that's a very important part of life, to be hyped up, to be happy, to be excited, right? To be grateful. These are very important things, but we can go too far with it and lose our focus and spend our time hyped up on the wrong things that's not productive. And that's what we've got to focus in, is being hyped up on the things that are productive and the things that are going to get us what we want. And that's really where, I guess, the self-discipline comes in. That's where the mental toughness comes in, is learning to get hyped up and only allowing ourselves to get hyped up on the things that we know is going to be the most productive in our life. Because when we're getting hyped up on things that are irrelevant, we're just consuming energy, we're wasting energy, we're wasting our life. And I've wasted probably years on the wrong things, hyped up on the wrong things, right? You've got to learn to get hyped up on the right things, and you got to learn to control that enthusiasm. And that is a huge part of energy management, and you've got to learn to control that. There's just no other way around it. If not, you're going to be wasting energy. So no matter what you do physically, no matter what you do nutritionally, no matter how much you sleep, you're going to be putting energy in the wrong places. So you're always going to be tired and fatigued when it comes to putting forth the energy in the areas that are the most productive that you need to be putting the energy in. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Enthusiasm is important. It's vital to life. It's a positive energy, but at the same time, if you're not careful, it can destroy you, and you got to learn to control that. Hope you guys have a blessed day.